Hello, hello, hello out there. Welcome everybody to this other self-care check podcast here at Tier 1. My name is Jasper Edge. This is my first time hosting, so please forgive any discrepancies. But my first episode of hosting will be about silent strength, breaking the silence about social connections, you know, and oh yeah, and almost forgot the most important thing. Do y'all care about y'all self care? Yes, yes, yes. So to hop on into it like I was doing before, breaking the silence about generational abandonment, surviving emotional scars, and healing throughout the connection. Uh, because the reason why I picked this topic is because it definitely resonates with what I've been going through. When I look back in my life, I noticed some things that weren't as socially connected as they should have been. I'm a victim of working as a kid, and this took a lot of growing time from me, social growth. It took social growth from me because I was always at work with my father instead of, mingling in the neighborhood and, playing with friends or even family members for that matter. There's a lot of things that go into being desocialized, and I definitely fit the criteria. I've been going through life pretty much not really recognizing the amount of importance it is to have a social life. It's been all work, a lot of discipline from my parents. If the parents wasn't doing too much discipline, it was the teacher, the principal. All of these things played a part into growing up in a shell of a life. So that's the reason why I picked it. And uh, I guess we could go on into the first question, and that is why is building a social relationship important, especially for men raised in silence just to survive. Again, I already tapped on some of my reasons for picking this topic. The beatings that I got for trying to express myself a little bit too much in my family. A lot of times it's the older brother, the older sister, the older cousin, or how about the bully down the street? All of these play a part into a person going into a shell and you know, living there to protect themselves. So I just want to kick the question out to the audience, because I sincerely hope I'm not the only one that's going through this type of thing. So the first question to the audience is: have any of you experienced anything that kind of hindered your social outreach, or stop you from being as friendly as you could, or whatever? Anybody got any ideas out there or anything to add to this?
I think it's important to build learning social skills because I think when you come from certain environments where we weren't taught to be so social and we was kind of taught to be more, hard or tough. So when, like, as for me, when it came to getting out into the real world, sometimes I didn't know how to deal with certain situations. Where we from, we would probably be taught to, okay, fight and defend yourself, defend your honor, defend your pride, but we was taught to use physical violence as our social our way to deal with social issues and social problems. But as I got older, I had to learn that learning how to deal with situations differently was more useful. But we didn't learn that. So as I got older, just dealing with I did a lot of jobs with customer service, and I learned how to look people in the eye and talk to them and speak to them and speak through emotions and how I felt and how I seen things, and using logic to get through issues. It taught me how to get through job interviews, what to say, not to use the word like so much, cut out curse words. So I think it's important as far as progressing and basically breaking that generational curse of emotional abandonment and what is it called, being the shell of yourself.
Yeah, because yeah, you hit on some key topics that helped you along the way, you know. But with me on that truck with my father, you know, I missed out on so much. You know, every summer I was on this truck with my father. I was actually his co-worker at 5 years old. I'm his co-worker, and this happened every summer throughout my life. But it's good to know that you know certain jobs can help you with social experiences and things of that nature. Anybody else got anything?
I like to add on what you said. As far as let's say, for example, you were saying your father brought you with him to work, so you was taught work ethics, you know, but you know you lack the social that can also produce a lack of social skills,
Yes.
which I think is common. But you know, sometimes we're not taught how to. Sometimes we're just not taught how to raise a kid a specific way. So he basically was teaching you a way that he know. Like, look, son, if all fails, you're gonna know how to survive. You're gonna know how to live on your own. I don't. He probably wasn't good at socializing himself, but he made sure you know you knew how to make some money. Like me, for example, I grew up. I wasn't taught exactly like that. I was more of a social kid. So when it came to a certain age point when I was supposed to be caring for myself on a, let's say for example financially, I slipped and I fell. You know, I bumped my head and I had to learn like, hold on, you got to use these social skills inside your work life. Yeah, so I was never social and vocal like I am right now, open up to speaking right now, but I was a playful kid though. So if I say, hey, let's go out and have fun, or you like someone like in your position, you would hang out with me and you would have the time of your life because I knew how to be a kid, you know, and I didn't have the certain type of work ethic. That was something that was had to you know come with repetitions and time over the years. So you know you got. I know you now. You got great work ethnicity. You know. Even though some people got taught, you know, how to be social, but they don't. They was never taught how to provide for themselves. So there was an imbalance, not just with you, but a lot of people. So being social is not everything, but it's good to acquire some social skills to move forward in
Yeah, you
life.
stole the words right out of my mouth with that balance piece because yeah, balance is like you got to balance that social and that play. I mean that work and play. You know, if you work hard, you should play hard. If you know, it got to be a combination of the two. Um, and I'm sorry, we supposed to clap.
Um, yeah, hi, I'm Sharon. I don't know. It's like the difference from you. I was taught like what happens in the family, stay in the family, all of that. And when my grandmother them told us something to do, we had to do it. Like I was working in the fields at the age of 6. Like every summer, my mother would just send us down there. So the work part I got, but the social, like spending time, my mother spending time with me through school, like more, she spent more time with my sister than me. So I had got to the point when I was 13, that's when I ran away and got on drugs. So I basically lost all of that, and my main thing was shut down. Like I would always be the one, like even if something bothered me, I wouldn't say nothing. But through, as I noticed, I get older, and I went through a lot of programs, different mental programs. I've been in the, you know, in doors where doors don't open and stuff, but I still couldn't catch like what's wrong with me. You know, why can't I open up to be social, to talk to people when something bothers me? So I thank God today. First of all, I went, like I said, I graduated from a lot of programs with different programs, you know, and it just seemed like at this age now, 55, coming here, I learned like grasping a little bit by time, and don't nothing come overnight. But I notice when I don't say nothing, the older I get, it bothers me even more as a child, because you know, growing up and on drugs and back and forth and this and that, having kids, I was just blocking it out. But I'm feeling like now more in my prayer, I'm asking God, whatever don't make me feel good, help me to speak it out, you know. I don't be trying to like put nobody in a position, but I also want to protect my mental health, and I want to protect my feelings, you know, before anybody else. I love peoples in general. I always did. I always been bullied. I always, you know, my 5 sisters, they would tell me, oh, this and that, call me names while we on vacation. And I was just like, you know, like, don't say nothing back. So now I find myself, as I get older, like, you know what, I think the lady was speaking about it, instead of try to stay inside the box, to be outside with all the anxiety and the mental and all of that, I thank God. And maybe it did take me to get on medication all these years, because I never did. Even when they would put me in the mental hospital, I would always, they would say, did you take your medication? I would say no. When I left, I would have a shoe full of medication. Wow. But I had, as I get older, and the more and more I pray and ask God to let it be His will in me instead of my will, then I'm starting to understand, you know. And it's a lot of things that frustrate me now, but I just seem not to worry, but I also want to feel good about myself. If I see something, say it. In the right perspective to say it. Or if somebody did something to me and I'm uncomfortable, I need to speak about it, you know, because I done been raped 3 times as a child. My mother boyfriend raped me at 1 year old. So today I'm blessed, to me, to know to be this age and to start. I'm not there yet, but I'm getting there. To start just, I can feel myself, just to start letting, whatever bothered me, I got to let it out. You know, and my thing most was, I don't care who it was, my family, what, I would not ask anyone for anything. I thought that was the right way to go, because I was in the streets. But as I got older, they was like, you know, you never know until you ask a person. And it's not that the person say no. I don't think that bothers me. It's just I got to get used to asking. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm at today. And I thank God that I'm starting to, whatever don't make me feel good, don't suppress it or don't hold it in, say something. Because that's what makes me feel who I am. I want to know who I am. So that's all I got.
Yes, I can definitely identify with what my sister just was sharing. And, you know, I can, oh my God, growing up as a child, you know, I was abandoned by my parents, and I thank God for my grandmother. I miss her so much, who raised me. However, I was sexually abused, and I didn't want to say anything to break up the family, so I held that in for, oh my God, it was just really overwhelming. And then my mom came and got me, and when I was 13, because I was raised in Virginia, but my mom came and got me when I was 13, and you know, still was feeling the same way. I ended up looking for love in all the wrong places and definitely the wrong faces. It was just, you know, a real bit overwhelming. And then I ended up using drugs and, you know, to sedate the pain, and that didn't work. And I ended up doing the same thing to my kids that was done to me. But I thank God that they didn't give up on me. They still love me, you know, and I'm just like forever grateful. But I have trust issues, so I'm learning too. I thank God for the gift of recovery, because I'm learning that when I go through stuff, I have somebody that can pick up that phone, call my sponsor or call my children or somebody, talk about what's going on, because I don't want to hold it in, because holding it in, it's hurting me. You know what I'm saying? It's hurting me. So to thine own self be true, I have to let that pain go. You know what I'm saying? Because holding it in and using, that's not going to change anything. And so I just want to, you know, continue to hold on and grow, because today I know that I am somebody, fearfully and wonderfully made in the image of God. I am somebody. My past does not define who I am, you know, and I will not allow it to control me. But again, I do have some issues with letting people in too, because I've been hurt. You know what I'm saying? Thinking, you know, I can trust that person, and oh my God, yeah, I've been hurt. But again, I'm learning to, you know, not allow that to affect me to grow. I'm going to continue to hold on and do what it is that I have to do. You know, going through some stuff now, but I know God got me. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to continue to hold on and trust Him. Do it all. You know, again, I'm just going to keep holding on. But there's, you know, I have a protection, you know. I don't share everything with everybody. I'm not going to lie to you about that. For real, because I've been hurt, and I just don't. I'm learning too that we teach people how to treat us.
Yes.
You know, I'm learning that. So again, I have to. My recovery is my responsibility. I have to do what I need to do to, you know, keep me sane and safe. For real. But I just thank God for having a personal relationship with the God of my understanding, because when things get rough, that's oh God, drop to my knees, Lord, please help me, give me the strength to get through this. So, but thank you so much for sharing.
Yes, I'm loving what I'm hearing out there because you know, it's that early life thing, that early life. It carries a long weight. Like we brought all of that childhood stuff with us into our teenage years and into our adulthood years until we learned that y'all mentioned. Like later on in life, we learned that you know getting with God and getting some insight from others to help us get past you know the traumas that we went through. Which brings me to the second question. You know, what are the positive effects of having a stronger social connection? You know, it teach us to trust each other, or you know, because you mentioned not letting somebody in about their trust, but in order to build a social structure, a stronger social structure, we got to learn how to the three purposes they have here. I mean, the three effects of having a strong social connection is having purpose, being happy, and it helps us to cope with our ordeals more. You know, just like you said, calling that sponsor, or you know, just calling somebody that you're going through the rooms with, or like being here in this house. This house is doing so much for me, y'all can't even know. But what is you know anybody want to share like the positive effects that since you're learning to grow more and reach out and trust? You know, that's the question. Yeah.
I was just, you know, a lot of people used to say, my grandmothers used to say to my mother, you had 6 kids, the 5 girls, when they all went to college and whatever. But stop beating down on her, because that one right here came with something special. I didn't never knew that, whatever. But to me, I'm a vibe person. And I've been like that since I was a child. Even though I was a loner, but I could feel when the vibe, if somebody, and one person did that made me really open up here was Miss Lois. Like, you just like, you just know when somebody is sincere. You know what I'm saying? You pray on it and God will let you know. Like when I used to come in the days, and I'm pretty sure everybody seen me when I first came in. Not that I didn't want to be here, but it's like she said, the trust issues. And I've been through a lot of programs, and there's very few people that can have me to open up. And she did that, and I'm very grateful for her. Because not that I dislike anybody here, but when I started coming in here in the morning time, she used to be like, "Is you all right?" And it's like she was bringing it out of me, and I used to go back home and be like, "This lady is just like," I always respect another person that's my mother age. So I was like, she just like a mother figure that I never had. So I started opening up, and I thank you for that. Thank you for that. So you just know, I go by vibes, I go by energy. I'm even like that in my house. If somebody come to my house, and if I'm right there to the door, if I don't feel right, they can't come in. I don't have company. I don't have people come play cards and do all of that. I never did. I'm like my grandmother. Like some people you can go, you see them having card parties and stuff. I lived in the towers for 10 years. Nobody could never knew I was living there. Why? Because I just went home, did what I had to do. I don't like a lot of strife and a lot of stuff around me. It don't make me feel good. I was raised like that. So no, I like to be around like love. I like to be around people's laughing and stuff, because that gives me something, pulls something out of me. Because I remember how it used to be. You couldn't even walk past me. My mother would walk past me in the morning, and I would just pop up out of my sleep and just yell at her. They were so scared. I don't want to go back to that, because I was lost. But I thank God today, now I can see.
Yeah.
And I can understand.
This is such a strong topic, you know. It really hits home with a lot of people, I'm sure, in one way or another, because, you know, there's different variations with this. We could probably talk about this forever, but should we, anybody else got anything on the positive effects of developing strong social relationships? And because I got something here as well, like we need to nurture the relationships that we do have, you know, because of what we went through, like Connie definitely mentioned it, that, you know, what happened to her, she winded up doing to her kids, and then her kids could wind up doing it to somebody else. It becomes a generational thing, like it was mentioned in the beginning. But if we could check it now, then we can fix the next generation, you know what I'm saying? And they won't have to extend it to their children and so on and so forth. So, so the third question is how. No, not the third question. Oh,
Yeah, I wanted to say something too, because I definitely support, having that support is so important, because it lets me know that I'm not alone.
Yeah.
It lets me know I'm not alone. And like the situation you was talking about with my kids, and what I did was, when I say what I did to them was, I ended up abandoning them too. You know what I'm saying? I tell my husband, babe, I'll be back. The kids need some milk. Child, please. I'll be gone for days. You know what I'm saying? So I ended up abandoning them. I can imagine how they was feeling. Like, Dad, what's wrong with me? Because that's how I felt. Like, what's wrong with me? Why my mother loved my brother more than me? Like, what's wrong with me? Why she leave me and kept him? So it's having that support is so important, because you're able to let it go, not, you know, hold it in. I thank God for the people that are very supportive. And me being here, I can identify with my sister again. Like Miss Lois, I felt very comfortable letting stuff out, how I was feeling while coming here too. You know what I'm saying? And it's awesome. God always put people in place for a reason. Yeah. So I'm grateful. What? Yeah. Come on now. I know I'm not alone.
Yes, it's so important to have that support, you know, and we definitely in the right place. We like on this moment right here doing this podcast, we getting that extra that we didn't have before we came here, you know. And I for one, like I came all through my school years. Teacher didn't have to tell me to be quiet. That's how much discipline I had. You know what I mean? That belt I used to get from my father had me in check. Like I was the nerd of the class, because I did everything the teacher told me almost before she told me. You know, that's just what all that discipline did for me. But we're gonna go to the third question, which is and we already tapped on some of it. What are some of the things that we can do, and we're already doing them, but just to talk about them, what are some other things? I mean, to things that we could do to improve our social relationship with others. When I was doing my little studies about this, they mentioned some things about, like, you know, spending time in nature, or, you know, just spending times doing what each other like doing, you know, just being available, making it going an extra length to be available to anyone that you're willing to you know, take those social steps with, you know, because it's so important. Some of the importance of having social relationships is the strength is in numbers. You know, you're never alone. You're if something goes wrong, you got somebody that you know which person to go talk to, because they just went through it. You know, we get that out of the rooms, but, you know, a lot of people not in the room, so it's important to try to develop it in a social type of way. And I'm also, even though I'm in the rooms, like, I need more social outside of the rooms, or more social outside of the program. You know, that's where life is at. You know what I mean? But just wondering what you guys got on that. What are some certain things that need to be done to strengthen relationships
with others? Let's say, like we do here in Tier 1, discover yourself. You know, trying to have that understanding with yourself that, you know, to be honest, no one can do it alone. No one can do it alone. So just building that, you know, positive social networks, you know, it helps you become, we're taught to be independent, but we also have to be interdependent. you know, and build those resources for the things that we can't do by ourselves. You know, in order to be a team player or to receive help, you have to know where you need help at, and you have to know where to go seek it at. So you can't be someone who just think, okay, I'm gonna handle it all on my own, because it's not true. Because some way, somehow, you need help. You know, you need a good education if you want to go get a great job. You know, you want to, if that's the route you want to use. If you want to be a private contractor, you need, you know, other companies to like who you are and present a certain type of image for them to want to contract you, because you're not the only one out there. They can go get someone else. So I'm kind of losing a little bit, folks. You said the question was what again?
Say again. Oh, what are some of the things that we can do to strengthen our social relationships with others?
Okay, one thing I do is I always like to be open and honest in every room that I'm in. That's how I build strong relationships with others. You know, when I'm wrong or when I'm feeling some type of way, I can open up about it without, you know, being scared or feeling patronized in any type of way. You know, that's one way, being open and honest. I learned that when I went to recovery in Integrity House, being open and honest with yourself and being open and honest with others. You know, being there for somebody else is actually being there for yourself too. So when I don't want to open up and I'm feeling some type of way, I see somebody else and they might look down, and just to help myself out a little bit, I look at them and I say, hey man, you got something going on? You want to talk about it? You okay? You know, you hungry? Hey, we had Dunkin' Donuts, I'll treat.
It's like volunteer your services.
Problems that I have sometimes, it just kind of like go away a little bit, because it's like, oh, I am, the feeling that I'm feeling about myself is actually because I wasn't reaching out enough. I wasn't being there for somebody else, and I'm feeling that guilt subliminally and subconsciously. So one way I deal with it is just being open and honest in every room that I'm in, you know.
Easy saying one more person. I'd like to hear from Lois on this, because I know she got plenty for us.
Not really, but I mean, it's gonna be short. Like he was saying, you know, we all need each other. No matter what it might be, you know, like, because if you want to buy a house, you don't want to go to anybody to say I want to buy a house. You got to know where you're going to in order to get the right, you know, resource and whatever. So, and I just like to say to Sharon, just keep up, you know, what you are doing. Just stay on that narrow path, and you know, continue to grow. Don't let nobody set you back. You know what I'm saying? Because like he was saying, we all need somebody.
Right.
And Laverne is here, y'all. Hey, Laverne. Yeah. So like for me, I feel so wonderful knowing that, you know, like I have so many people in the house that really acknowledge me for what they say I do. You know, sometimes I turns it into fun, but to me, it really means a lot, mean a lot to me. For y'all to, you know, attach yourself to me and listen to me, you know, cut the fool or whatever I might do. But it's serious. You know what I'm saying? I always give it to you serious. Because like I say, we just need a word. Sometimes we just need a word into our spirit just to, you know, continue our journey. And I'm so glad that I can be a help too.
Thank you.
You know, for Jasper.
Okay, so we you know, we covered it a little bit about this anti-socialism thing. It for me, you know, it really helped me out a lot. We're moving along, you know. Y'all my second family. I'm looking forward to just continuing to grow with y'all, and I hope y'all feel the same. And I just got one question. Do y'all care about y'all self-care? Yeah!